In an attempt to get some accountability or at least some answers on where the hell all the homeless spending has gone in LA, U.S. Attorney Bill Assali is launching an investigation into figuring out where the heck all the money went. We're going to get into that story and more. But first, if you are part of the 27% who have not yet subscribed, who want to stay up on California politics, because that's all we talk about here is California politics, California political news, make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe button. It really helps us with the algorithm. Leave a comment and all that stuff. So let's get into that first story right now.
Assali today. He's live for us in downtown LA. Matthew.
Well, Alex, a lot of people wonder about all of that money and if it's being spent the way it's supposed to be. Well, we could have some answers here pretty soon. The most visible crisis across California, now the target of a federal investigation.
We will investigate and look at the facts and determine whether any laws were broken.
Newly sworn in U.S. Attorney Bill Assali announcing what he calls a homelessness, fraud, and corruption task force, looking into billions of dollars of homeless funding spent across Southern California and possible fraud, abuse, and corruption.
Despite all the money spent and the audits conducted, there's billions of dollars unaccounted for. Local and state officials cannot give us answers.
A recent independent audit found that LA officials could not accurately track down about $2.3 billion in spending for homeless services.
So one more quick question.
As a result, last week, LA County voted to stop funding LAHSA, leading to the resignation of CEO Dr. Valicia Adams-Kellum. How does $2 billion just go missing?
It doesn't, and we're going to find out where it is.
The number of homeless on the streets is increasing with every dollar we spend.
Santa Monica business owner John Alley supports the new task force.
It's hidden money and it's paybacks. I believe people will end up in jail.
Along with
There's a reason we call it the homeless industrial complex, because there are so many people who are making money off of homeless spending in California. It's insane. And we're going to get into that story, how much people are skimming and stealing.
LA County, the task force will investigate Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. There are about 75,000 homeless people in LA County compared to about 20,000 in the others combined.
We're going to have the best prosecutors, the best agents on this.
LA Mayor Karen Bass responding, telling Fox 11, our focus is on outcomes and saving lives. Last year, Los Angeles bucked national increases with a 10% decrease in street homelessness. A spokesperson from California Governor Gavin Newsom's office said,
Gavin Newsom doing his photo op of, here's me cleaning up garbage. I'm just like you. I'm a normal guy. I get my hands dirty.
as we share the federal administration's goal of ensuring taxpayer funds are being used effectively to get people off our streets.
It's a humanitarian crisis. It's a public trust crisis. And and I think we deserve answers.
So to give you context as to why the U.S. attorney is getting involved is because California does receive a good amount of money from the federal government as well as the state government. So to give you some context, LA receives in spending its overall homeless budget for the fiscal year of 2025, 2026 is $1.8 to $2 billion. City is $900 to $961 million. County is $908 million, blending federal 25%, state $380 million HHAP grant, and local sources such as Measure A. Federal funds are critical, but scrutinized amid audits, revealing unspent amounts. So they do receive money, and that does give the federal government and the U.S. attorney jurisdiction to look into this as to where the heck is this money going, because I'm sure it's being all pulled into one big budget, and it's all going out to different things. And now there's already been a federal judge who's looking into this. Now you have the U.S. attorney and the federal investigators and prosecutors looking into this. So there's already been a lot of movement on this. And if you haven't been following the story in LA, the corruption and when it comes to spending and misallocating or just not telling people where the heck the money is going, this story's been ongoing for a while. So this story broke just recently. This was regarding two individuals who were just indicted by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Cody Holmes of Beverly Hills was in custody as of Thursday after he allegedly used fake bank accounts to receive nearly $26 million from the California Department of Housing and Community Development for Shangri-La Industries, LLC, for which he previously served as a CFO. Quote, even though the developer received all the money from the state, the developer did not complete the construction of the Thousand Oaks project, Bill Assali said during a news conference. Essentially, he stole the money. There's another individual, man. In a separate case, Stephen Taylor, a developer and real estate agent of Brentwood, was released on a $3.6 million bond, the DOJ said, after he was charged with bank fraud, identity theft, and money laundering. Federal investigators said Taylor also used fake bank accounts to obtain loans and lines of credit. The 44-year-old is accused of using the fraudulently obtained funds to flip a Cheviot Hills home and selling it to a homeless housing developer for more than double its original price. So there's all these individuals. I think this is just scratching the surface of how many people are really skimming off the top and grifting all of the money that is coming in to solve homelessness. And I put that in air quotes, solve homelessness, because if you're making this type of money and you're part of a homeless nonprofit making $500,000 a year, why would you ever solve homelessness? There's no reason. And if you're these developers and you're making these kind of deals and you're making millions of dollars, why would you ever want to solve homelessness? The money train just keeps going. It kind of sounds like the high-speed rail. And going back, they referenced the former CEO, Valicia Adams-Kellum. We've covered her before. At the beginning of this year, a huge scandal broke out regarding her. So she resigned. This was back in April of this year, after the scandal broke that she had signed off on checks amounting to $2.1 million to a nonprofit that employs her husband in a senior leadership role. And this wasn't just one check. It was 3 different checks that she signed off on that went to her husband's nonprofit. And of course, the LA Ethics Board said nothing happened, or it was just an oversight, or it's just an easy mistake. Anybody could have happened. 3 checks, 3 different times. You're the CEO of this huge organization that handles hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, no problem. She was also handpicked by Karen Bass as well to be the head of the LAHSA. So she resigned earlier this year, probably because there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out. And I imagine the U.S. Attorney's Office is going to start looking into what LAHSA has been doing. They are also facing scrutiny from a federal district court judge down in LA, basically saying, you guys either figure out and tell us where all this money's going, or we're going to take all this money and it's going to be given to a receiver handled by the federal court, and they're going to handle the money and take it away from the city. So this has been ongoing for a while. This is not something that just popped up. I'm sure everybody knows that we spend billions and billions and billions of dollars, 24, 30, 40 billion. We just approved Prop 1 last year, which is going to allow for $6 billion in a bond to be taken out, which is going to address homelessness. But all of it just seems we spend billions and billions of dollars and it's not going anywhere. It's not helping anything. And more scandals seem to be popping up out of all of this. And this is something I did want to bring up as well. Karen Bass said that they saw a 10% decrease in homelessness year to year. There are a lot of people who are very skeptical. And if you live in LA, you can let me know in the comments whether you think homelessness has gone down. But there's a lot of people who think that this isn't actually working. And of course, there might be cooking the numbers to make it look like they're doing their job. That makes it look like this money is being well spent and they shouldn't have their money taken away. Because again, you have the U.S. attorney who's now involved and this federal district court judge who's also involved, who's probably going to take the money away. They don't want the gravy train to end, so they're going to try and make the numbers look as good as possible. So this is from the LAist, and they've been doing an amazing job following all of this. I highly recommend. They're one of the first people who broke all these stories regarding LAHSA and the fact that they can't account for where any of the money is. Then they found out that Valicia Adams-Kellum was signing checks to her husband's nonprofit. They broke that story. So LAist is doing an amazing job covering all of this if you want to go check them out. This is basically an article as of like last week. This is really recent. This is not something that is like months old. This is very recent, saying that the homeless are being undercounted. An official homeless count captured just 68% of the unsheltered population in 3 key city of LA neighborhoods this year, according to a Rand Corporation report released today. LAH's potential undercounts coincide with a rise in what they call, quote, rough sleepers who live outside without the protection of a vehicle, tent, or makeshift dwelling. LA increasingly has removed tent encampments through programs such as Inside Safe. That has meant rough sleepers and vehicle dwellers, both harder to count accurately, have become a larger share of the homeless population. It used to be that the easiest to count population was also the dominant population, Abramson said. So if you're getting the tent dwellers right, you're probably getting the needs right. But if more of your population is rough sleeping, this is going to be your problem. So this is a graph of the point in time contact, total unshelter, and you can see this is an undercount, 26% as of January last year, 32% as of January of this year. So this matters because of the fact that they are going to say, like Karen Bass is going to go out there and tout, oh, no, this is all being spent fine. This is all good. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here, folks. There was a 10% decrease. I don't know why they're looking into this. So we'll probably blame it on Trump or something like that because he's a Trump appointee. There are a lot of people who are very, very skeptical about her number, about it being 10%, that it's probably an undercount, that they're probably undercounting the amount of homeless that are in LA. And that's why these numbers are just not completely accurate. There was another tweet that I found. This is from Scott Myers. He is someone who is on X, and he has a lot of questions about homelessness. He looks into it a lot of times. He asked Karen Bass, this is a reply to an X post from Karen Bass. He says, 1, when will you release the numbers of how many of the 1,553 decrease in homelessness was due to a drug overdose? 2, or is it that you consider drug deaths as an accomplishment? 3, when will your deputy mayor of communications start communicating and answer such questions? It seems like he's simply hired to lead interference. 4, you promised to cut your salary to help with the budget, but you haven't. It's been 5 months. Please explain. That's another thing that a lot of skeptical people are asking is how much of this is actually you're moving people into homes or shelters or places where they're getting them off the street, and how many are just sadly people who died. They died on the street because of health, because of conditions, because of a drug overdose, anything like that. That's a question that has not been answered. So they're trying to figure out this 10% decrease that you're talking about. How much of it is actually sadly people and homeless people just dying that you're now counting and saying, oh, well, there's less homeless people because I guess if they're in a shelter or they died, it still counts as a decrease. So these are questions that a lot of people are asking. And when you wrap this all up with the whole scandal of the fact that you have individuals who are being caught as developers who are stealing tens of millions of dollars and being indicted for homeless spending, and you have the CEO of LAHSA who was caught giving $2 million to her husband's nonprofit, it is no shock that the U.S. attorney, thankfully, is getting involved in saying, what the hell is going on here? We have to figure out where all this money is going, because California has spent tens of billions of dollars on homelessness, and LA on itself has spent tens of billions of dollars, it seems like, on all of this at $2 billion a year with all the money that they're getting from the federal and state and stuff like that. Now, with billions spent in LA and what appears to be officials who are misconstruing or cooking the books on what the term of success is when it comes to homeless spending, don't you think it's right for taxpayers to be a little frustrated with where their money's going, and if it's going to developers and their personal bank accounts and personal credit cards and stuff like that? Don't you think taxpayers have a right to know where that money is going? So thanks to the U.S. attorney, Bill Assali, who is going to start looking into this, the federal district court judge who is also looking into this, there's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of examinations into where all this money went. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. Do you think it's about time that LA is put under the spotlight and under the microscope to figure out where the hell all this homeless spending went? And will you be surprised if it turns out it was misspent, given out to people, developers, political buddies, or anything like that? Let me know in the comments your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. Later.